Around 1.5 million people in the UK have a learning disability. Most people with a learning disability are treated as different.
I've got bullied a lot.
People spitting on buses.
Sometimes I go on the bus and these examples for like these children or adults that push.
They go very anxious, sometimes they go sick.
There's some people can stand up with my head.
The general public often confuses a learning disability with a mental health problem or learning difficulties such as dyslexia.
It's one of those things that people struggle with because there's so many different types of learning disability within that and so many different abilities that, you know, the range between people can be so huge.
You've got learning disabilities, some are obvious, sometimes not.
That's true, yeah.
It can be like inside, not outside, you know, your body. Learning disabilities, you know, sometimes you can't tell.
People with learning disabilities want to be treated equally and have access to the same opportunities as the whole of society.
We all have limitations, whether you have a learning disability or not. People with learning disabilities are very often seen, first and foremost, as people with problems.
It's just a learning disability. You know, it doesn't affect their personality, it's just that they will have a learning disability that has changed their learning from birth, and that's it.
When the bullying happened, it used to make me feel sick, and it used to make me feel physically sick. Sometimes I used to put my fingers down my throat, make myself ill so I didn't have to go to places like school and to my youth theatre group.
He'd come back maybe with spit on him. He'd come back with his bicycle wheels deflated, his handlebars and seat turned around the wrong way. He'd come back maybe with a group of 6 or 8 of them chasing him till he got to the safety of his own home.
So someone just knocked me down, and I don't like being pushed quite often because it makes me feel scared and makes me feel sad.
See, the stuff at school started off with name calling. Spastic, retard, and other stuff. See, I don't have the physical strength of the others, and they see this as a weakness, and they started picking on me. They think I'm stupid, just because I get extra help in lessons. But I want to learn and understand just like them.
The bullying carried on after school. It used to happen at a youth theatre group that I used to go to on a Friday, and the girls who bullied me at school used to be in that group, and so whenever we were standing around waiting for rehearsals, they used to make kind of jokes behind my back, and they used to snigger and laugh at me and just kept saying to me, "Why are you here? You can't be in our group, you know, you can't read anything, or you can't do this, or, you know, you must be really ugly, and, you know, why are you here?" And just really hurtful comments. And so in the end, I used to really love singing and dancing, and I had to give it up because I just felt so unhappy and I couldn't tell anybody what was going on, and so I decided to leave the group.
And I suppose the fact that he's actually very able makes him much more vulnerable, because he can go off to the park on his own, he can go off on his bike on his own, but that actually meant... Oh, sweetie pie, it was horrible, wasn't it? It was horrible, wasn't it? Hey, it's all right, it's all right. It's all over now, isn't it? Yeah, it's all over now. Yeah?
That was a couple of months ago, well, about 6 weeks ago. Bloke outside cross cutters
It's terrible.
And he had chunky rings on, and he just smacked my head with the chunky rings on. How I lost my teeth was, a bloke comes up to me and goes, "What's it like being a retard then?" And so I went to him. That's what I was about to ask you the same thing. And he pushed me, so I fell over, and he stomped my face with Doc Martens on.
Oh, Christopher, your life.
This is where I used to live. It feels strange being back here. Yeah, that's my old house there. That's where the ones who won the riots everywhere used to live. I would just spack Mo. They used to call me no good, stupid, retard, spastic. Why aren't you in a home? Why do you bother coming out here? And they used to kick me to bits. They used to punch me, and I'd sort of curl up in a little square, and they'd all be kicking me.
I was struck by the way Christopher's speech altered when he began to recount the abuse he faced as a child. Even though it was over 30 years ago, it is still such an immediate and traumatic memory for him.
I gave up coming out the front door. I used to go along the back walls on the garden and escape into the back streets that way. I wanted to be friends with them, but it just wasn't happening, and after a while I accepted it wasn't going to happen.
Christopher fiercely defends his right to live independently, but is keen to be a useful member of society.
And I feel differently if I manage to get a job.
It's not as if you haven't applied for jobs. You've applied for jobs.
Tons. Loads. There was a computer job I could have done with my eyes shut. And so I went straight in up the stairs and said I want to apply for a job in the window, and the blonde bulldog behind the counter went, "There's nothing for you in the window," and went, "Yes there is, I'll show you," and she went, "No, there's nothing for you in the window."
That's disgusting.
The job's gone now, of course, but
yeah, but that's not the point.
And I tried applying for lots of jobs, and other people kept getting them.
Yet Christopher could read when he was 2, has 17 qualifications in IT, and a passion for music.
Is computers. I can build them, repair them, program them, and I loved writing music for years now, except the problem I always had was mixing it, and Hastings being about 10 years behind the rest of the world, there are no music mixing classes for anyone over 25. So, believe it or not, I had to go to Shoreham, which is like 3 hours away. When we had one lesson so far, and this is my first homework piece.
He will probably always come across bullies all his life, and I suppose one reaction is that you're going to wrap them up in cotton wool. And the trouble is that, especially with a child with a disability, if you wrap them up in cotton wool, they're not learning any of those things that they need to learn to be independent.
He wants to kind of do things on his own, and I think that's, he feels proud when he can be independent, and I think he likes to show us that he can do that on his own, and that he's kind of moved forward.
Okay, let's get ready for the chicken dance, everyone. Come on, do the chicken dance. Move your hands, move your feet, shake your toe now. Listen up, I'm gonna tell you how I like my chicken. How do you like your chicken when you're fishing in the kitchen? I'm gonna tell you how I like my chicken. Come on.